So what the plan is today is we're going to go through Numbers chapter 13 and 14. We're going to have a look into the story, and we're going to draw out 3 principles on how we can increase our faith. And I'm going to give you 3 visual cues so that when you're struggling with your faith this week, you can draw on those 3 visual cues and remind yourself and keep faith in all situations. Okay, so the story goes a little bit like this. The Israelites, they leave Egypt, right? And they're walking through this wilderness. They've made it through Egypt. They're going through the wilderness, and they're just about to get into the promised land. So what happens is there are 12 men that are selected, and thank you so much for the pronunciation of those names, Jeremy, fantastic. There are 12 men that are selected, and they are leaders of their respective tribes. And Moses says, I want you to go out, and I want you to explore this promised land. I want you to see if the land is good for growing things, if there's beautiful fruit going here. I want you to find out if the people are weak or they're strong. Are the cities fortified? Find out some information about this land for us. So the 12 spies, they go exploring the land, and they walk through the land. I think it's 40 days, if I'm not mistaken. Did I read my Bible enough? Can someone confirm that with like a... Yes, they go exploring for 40 days. I think that's why, yeah, anyway. They go exploring, and they're checking out the land, having a look around. And they notice, as they're exploring the land, that there's some pretty powerful people in there, all right? They go through, and this cowering man, he's spying out, and he sees that there's some really strong people that they're going to have to fight when they come into this land. They also notice that the walls are humongous. These cities are fortified. Oh, dang, right? Wow, that looks powerful as heck. Then they notice something else though. On the flip side, they get this single cluster of grapes, and they need to get a pole to carry it. And then these beautiful pomegranates and figs. Oh, these exotic, wonderful fruits that are growing in the land. And they're like, we're going to take some of that back like Moses asked us. So they grab it. Then what happens is they stroll back to the Israelites who are over in the wilderness. And when they get back, Joshua and Caleb, and these guys are legends. Like, these are the cool dudes, right? But we'll work that out. We'll see that soon. Joshua and Caleb are like, guys, you've got to see this land. It's incredible. We should go and take this land. We should get possession of this land. And we can do it. It's possible. But what happens? The negatons show up. The blimmin' negaton spies. They're like, this land is very scary. It's impossible to get into this land. Don't do it. The people are humongous. The cities are fortified. We'll never make it. We can't do it. Is that what I wrote? No. All right. Anyway, right. So the Israelites, they go, oh no, oh no. And they start cowering in fear, and they're like, maybe they're right. There's 10 people saying it's impossible. There's 2 people saying it's possible. Oh, I don't think it's a good idea. And Caleb and Joshua are like, what? Are you kidding me? We've got a God. We've got like a super powerful God backing us up. We can totally take this land. And the Israelites are like, I don't know about that, Joshua and Caleb. I don't think we can do it. And in fact, they're so angry about it, they try to flip and kill them for some reason. What the heck? All right. So, wait, what else do I have here? Pretty much, they try and kill them. And in the end, they go back to exactly what they were doing. They go back to wandering in the wilderness. And just like the spies were exploring for 40 days, they, because of their lack of faith, end up having to walk around a wilderness for 40 years. Pretty harsh punishment. But there is the light, there is a silver lining, because Israel's stuck walking around, but the faithful too end up getting to go into the promised land. So there's a pretty cool little twist at the end of the story. The faithless Israelites are stuck wandering around, but the people that had faith, they end up getting into the promised land. So we're going to get 3 lessons from this story. And these 3 lessons are going to help us with our faith, right? Now, some people think faith is a binary thing. It's just a yes, I have faith, or no, I don't have faith. But actually, you can increase your faith. You can grow your faith. It says in the Bible that you can read your Bible, right? If you get the words of Christ into you, your faith is going to be growing. So we can actually look at our faith and improve it. So I'm going to try and find 3 principles for us to grow our faith. So what I'm going to do is, to me, it's all about balancing out our faith and doubt. As soon as our doubt gets heavier than our faith, then we're in problem zone. So I'm going to give you 3 methods for improving your faith. So this is number 1. And the symbol I want you to remember for this is a thought bubble, right? This little thought bubble is what we're going to remember for this one. Okay, so can I get you guys to check out Numbers 14, verse 11? I'm going to do a quick flip. Numbers 14, verse 11. There's my phone. Oh, I've got it written here. Perfect. Numbers chapter 14, verse 11. I don't know why everyone's looking up new things. We didn't read any other parts of the Bible. Maybe you have to reopen it. I'll give you a chance. Numbers 14:11 says, the Lord said to Moses, how long will this people despise me? And how long will they not believe in me in spite of the signs that I have done among them? Like, these people should have pretty good reason for their faith, just like we should have pretty good reason for our faith. These people have been through a whole saga over the past few years of amazing things God has done. So we're going to play a little game. This is a little game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put something up on the screen, and you guys are going to tell me what action or miracle God has done that the people of Israel should be able to draw on. So what's this saga here? Red Sea crossing. Yeah, this is the Red Sea crossing. What did God do? He separates a sea. He separates a sea, and then incredible, like the people have literally walked through dry land with like big banks of water either side of them. Pretty good reason to have faith in God. Ooh, anyone know what this one is? Manna. Yeah, every day these people are getting free food literally from heaven. Pretty easy to draw on that. Oh no, every other nation gets it as well, right? What the heck? It's like right there, guys. Okay. Oh, that picture does not look like anything for anybody. That's one of them, so I'll give you a point. Pillar of cloud is something that they get to see every day. Yeah, this one's kind of hard. I'll give you a clue. What's the thing in the middle? Death of the firstborn, pyramid are great clues. Yeah, they get all of the plagues in Egypt. They have witnessed these plagues that struck Egypt. They were in the middle of it. They didn't get struck by the plagues. Egyptians get struck by the plagues. These people should know these stories. These things literally happened around them. Sorry about the quality. What? You don't know what this one is? They've got a... Yeah, I want to hear someone from the crowd rather than people whispering. Hey. I know. What is it? They have a humongous pillar of fire when at nighttime they get this big pillar of fire above the camp, but they're like, no, God can't save us. He can make epic fire above the camp at night. He can do that. He can part seas. He can bring plagues, but he can't save us from these people. Like, are you kidding me? Okay, what else? Does anyone know what this one is? This is a hard one. I'm trying to get progressive. Yeah, the budding of Aaron's rod. It's a pretty trippy thing to happen. Like, the people question Aaron, and then it's like, oh yeah, okay, God's probably with that guy. Right, budding of Aaron's rod. Ooh, that's hard. Do you know what this is? Serpent on the pole is pretty cool because all these serpents, they get healed from it. That's another one I could have put up there. Yeah, it's meant to be water from the rock. Man alive. We might even get a new project. Who knows? Water from the rock, right? These people are like, I'm thirsty, God, I'm thirsty. And like, they just go, boof, water's coming out from a rock. Ridiculous miracle. God does it for them. Does he do it on multiple occasions? Yeah, what the heck? Not once, but twice they've seen water from a rock. This generation of Israelites has seen a pretty big series of miracles from God confirming that he is worth having faith in, right? So, I think I want to stop there for a second. For us, what I want you guys to consider is just like they had these amazing things happen in their lives, and when it came to a new challenge, they can approach it and think that God isn't going to be with them. We need to, if we want to have strong faith coming into a situation, we need to go back into the past. We need to think back and think, how has God been with me? Right? There's so many times we're like, God's blatantly set that up for me. But it's so easy to forget what God has done for you in the past. So this is the first thing that I want you guys to do to increase your faith. I want you to remember what God has done for you in the past, right? Maybe even some people keep a prayer diary. The prayer diary, they write their prayer down. When it gets answered, they write it down. That gives them some evidence that they can go back to and say, oh, wow, God is actually working in my life. I've got evidence that God is going to keep working in my life because he's done it in the past. So this is lesson number one. I was going to give you a testimonial, but I want to try and keep it shorter. What do I do it, Dylan? Okay, I'll give you one. I'm currently living in a flat, and in fact, people are moving out of the flat, and there were problems in the flat. It was like a drinking culture. They were drinking in weekdays and stuff, and I was like, God, I want to get out of here. But the problem was, it's like a family in this flat. So we talk about like issues. We're trying to help each other. Like and people are very reliant on one another. And so I couldn't bring myself to leave the flat. Like I was like, oh, like I can't leave because people are relying on me for stuff. So I was stuck in this weird limbo, and I was like, God, how do I get out of this situation? Amazing. God gave a 90-day termination notice from our landlord randomly. Not randomly, I don't know. I'm going to use this as a thing to go back on, right? He gave us a 90-day, the landlords have randomly decided to develop the land. Fantastic. I get a way to escape from the flat, and I don't even have to break their hearts while I'm doing it. This is another thing. It's like the ultimate solution. So this is going to be another thing that I draw on. Wow, God directly answered my prayer. It's amazing. And I'm sure you guys have instances in your past as well. I know that these ones are a little bit maybe more epic proportions, dare I say that. Your ones are probably epic proportion as well, right? They're just a little less huge things of fire in the sky, perhaps. But yeah, there are totally things that have happened in your life that you can draw back on. So, yeah, remember, when has God backed you up in the past? You've got great reason to have faith in him. It's not just blind faith, right? We've got evidence in the past of when he's helped us. I want you to draw on that. So this is lesson number one. I want you to remember this picture during the week. Give me 3 pictures you remember. These are basic like clip arts. They're literally dragged in from the insert drawing thing. So that's going to be easy to remember. I want you to remember this. This means to remember. Remember what God has done for you in the past. If you're struggling with your faith, number one, remember God's backed you up in the past. Number one. Okay, let's look at the second one. So the next symbol is this little crossed out thing. Now, I want you guys to read with me Numbers 13, 31, 32, and 33. I've got them in here again. But the men who had gone up with him said, we are not able to go up against these people because they are stronger than we are. Then they presented the Israelites with the discouraging report of the land they had investigated, saying, the land that we passed through to investigate is a land that devours its inhabitants. All the people we saw there are of great stature. We even saw the Nephilim there. The descendants of Anak came from the Nephilim, and we seemed like grasshoppers, both to ourselves and to them. This is a problem with your faith. This is a problem. You're going to find that people are doubters. There's two things about that. People are doubters means that other people are going to doubt, and it means that you're going to doubt. You have this ability to bring doubt, and other people have this ability to bring doubt upon you. These men, these 10 spies, it spread like a virus. They come in, they doubt, they have a lack of faith with their negative thinking, and they can let it spread around, right? So he comes in with his negative report, And this doubt is contagious. This negative thinking that people can come in with is contagious. So there's two things that we need to be really careful of here. The first thing is ourselves. We need to be really careful that we are not coming in with doubt, right? We need to be really considerate or considering of the fact that if we are doubting, not only is that going to affect us, that's going to pass on to other people. It's really contagious. Israel got contaminated by this doubt, and in fact, they were going to kill the two spies that were doing the right thing and had the faith. So be careful, it's super contagious. I've noticed that in the Western civilization, it may just be in the world, complaining is the best way to start conversation. I mean, is it true or is it not true? Like if you want to start a good conversation, the government spent more money on, what's something the government spent money on? A statue. What are they building that statue for? Unbelievable. What a terrible government. Oh, we're going into lockdown again. Oh, the boss made me do it. He's an idiot. The idiot boss, isn't he? Yeah. One time he did this thing to me and yeah, I know. What a dummy. Like, honestly, if you want to start conversation in the West, being a doubter, being a negaton, putting other people down, great way to start a conversation. But the problem is, you start that, it just spreads like a virus. So you've got to curb it somewhere. And the best place to curb it is realizing when you're doing it yourself, right? I'm guilty of it. I do it all the time, right? We resort to it naturally. It's so easy to fall back to. But we need to be really conscious that we don't get this sort of negative spirit in us, right? Doubting things, doubting other people, having doubt. I mean, no one's coming along to the seminars. I guess God doesn't want us to preach. But like when you come in with that attitude, it's not going to help anything. Try and actually come in with like a positive, like, look how incredible this side of things is going. Other places in the world, there's like God's growing massively. These Chinese classes are doing amazing. If you come in with a positive attitude, you can actually spread it that way rather than coming in negatively. The other thing, when other people are coming in with this attitude, you've got to learn how to either avoid it, ignore it, or ultimate answer, rebuke it. Really hard to do rebuking. Doing the rebuking right, I'm not giving you advice on that. It's difficult, but you need to shut it down somewhere. Someone needed to say to the spies, we've got a God on our side. We're not scared of these giants. We're not scared of these big cities. We've got the Lord backing us up, right? So this is the next lesson. I want you to remember this symbol. And it's the symbol of rejecting negative thinking. Not only in other people, it's not for us to judge and just go, idiot, negative thinking. You're stuck in it again, right? Reject it here and reject it when it's coming from outside. Be really careful of negative thinking. It's contagious. Those 10 spies came in, corrupted the whole camp of Israel. They're all stuck in the wilderness, right? Reject that negative thinking. That's lesson number 2. Okay, lesson number 3. This is the final symbol. So we've got thought bubble, reject. What is that symbol? No smoking is genuinely what comes to mind. But the old no reject. We just call it reject symbol. Finally is the power symbol, right? The power symbol. Let me go down. This one, I'm going to get an example from the Bible. So there's 2 groups, right? This is the spot the difference. We're going to play a game of spot the difference. This is another interactive saga, part of the EXHORT. What we're doing here is we've got the 2 spies saying this, and we've got the 10 spies saying this. I want you guys to spot the difference. I'm going to read through them. We are not able to go up against these people because they are stronger than we are. Then you got Joshua and Caleb. If the Lord delights in us, then he will bring us into the land and give it to us. What's the difference? What's the big difference here? Pardon? You're pretty close. Attitude is huge, and we've looked at attitude, absolutely attitude. But I think Steve's onto something here. What are you saying there, Steve? Acknowledging God. Look at this. I actually think that these are probably both true statements. Probably. I think that it's true. We are not able to go up against these people because they are stronger than we are. I think it's true. What's the difference with what they say? The Lord delights in us, then He will bring us into this land and give it to us. So the big difference here is that this group has factored God into the equation. This group is just purely looking at it from a human perspective. Jesus says, he looks at them after the camel eye of the needle. No one's given me an answer for that, by the way. This little, I don't know. Anyway, Jesus looked at them and he replied, this is impossible for mere humans, but for God, all things are possible. Right? If you're coming in just thinking about what you are capable of doing, then sure, you probably can't do it. But as soon as you factor God into the equation, that's an entirely different outcome. Right? So you need to factor God in. If you are having an issue with your faith and you're like, it's impossible, it can't be done. It probably can't be. But you need to remember to bring God into the equation. What's the next slide? Right? If it's just you, you can't do much. But with God in the picture, we're talking about all-knowing, we're talking about all-powerful, we're talking about like infinite in every regard, we're talking humongous support, right? We're nothing. This being has all power over the universe, and as soon as you factor him in, anything's possible. So, oh yeah, by the way, there's a little example of this. They couldn't take down Jericho, but when they do the thing that God tells them to do with a bit of faith, what happens? This impenetrable, amazing city just crumbles. What did the humans do to make that crumble? The vibrations of the trumpet really affected the strength of the wall and perfect pitch. I think he did the perfect note. No, there's nothing to do with the humans. These guys were incapable of taking down Jericho. But as soon as they factored God in, boom, destroyed. In fact, he even like somehow saves the whole group of people on the, I don't know. Anyway, this is the next thing. I want you to remember this. So we've got the thought bubble. Remember what God has done for you in the past. We've got the no symbol. Reject that negative thinking in ourselves and in other people. And finally, we've got this power symbol, or like lightning bolt. I got this off the side of Lindsay's car as he came in today. Right? What I want you guys to do is I want you to take into account God's power. If you are struggling with your faith and you think something's not possible, as soon as you take God's power into account, actually it flips the whole thing on its head. It becomes possible. Right? So, if you want to increase your faith, remember, I want you to reject negative thinking. And I want you to include God's power, factor it in. So, these are our lessons. Remember what God has done for you in the past, reject negative thinking, and take into account God's power, just like the faithful spies did.